Here we are to a brand new live stream on Tesla, and by coincidence, Goldman Sachs just released after hours yesterday a brand new $864 rating, and we will speak about that and also how the Tesla stock is doing. As you can see from the studio light, we are green today, and obviously also we will look into some details of this rating. At the end of the day, I'm always fascinated by this analysts, while myself is not putting too much weight on those who are trying to see where the stocks are. But we need to see the details. We will have a look which analyst of Goldman Sachs said what and how is his performance. And also we will talk about your questions to Tesla, because Tesla is just a freaking roller coaster, and I cannot imagine how the stock can be just next week. It's just so unpredictable that but that's, in the end of the day, that's Tesla, right? We are not awaiting so anything less or more from the Tesla stock. So 8 of you guys are already here. Let's jump into those live chat and let's see from where are you coming. So Netherlands is here. And post in the chat not only your questions, but from where you are watching it, because this is super interesting. I'm streaming live now from Dubai, from the New York of the Middle East, and let's have a look if you guys have already some questions. Dear, you think Goldman raised, they are going to pump this stock before the end of the week? Today it seems like mostly day trades, judging from the option chain, I mean. So first of all, the position of Goldman can be Tesla, obviously, and I believe that some investment banks are putting their positions first in place and then giving out those analysts, and based on that, stocks can make a huge movement. And this is where I want to directly dive into with you guys into the market, because the market is interesting today. So let's have a look where the markets are today. So Dow Jones is negative 2.1%. It's mostly flat the all day long so far. Same with the S&P, all day long, mostly flat. And who else is interesting here from my watch list? Amazon, I think today was a great day to buy before earnings. I bought directly in the beginning, and I think that Amazon will just crash the earnings. Obviously, I made some percentage points towards the recovery here in the first hour or so this was great for my trade, for the earnings trade. Let's have a look on Tesla. So Tesla, I think it was yesterday we got a pump of about 13%. This was obviously huge. And if you're following this live stream, I put a small short position, and as I imagined, the downturn was then towards the end of the market, and then I went out of this trade with a little bit of winnings, but just a couple of percentage points. I'm just thinking that without this message, which you can see the result of the message by Goldman here that the stock would maybe give some gains. We have seen this in the overall day. You know, we started much stronger here, but the overall market was very low and therefore also took down the Tesla stock with it. And from the highs today, we were at 751 and went down to now 726, so about 3% we lost already. But let's see how it evolves. If we following this trend, it's more of a downtrend for today. But does it really care how the Tesla stock is today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow? I think the most important part is make sure that you have your horizon for investing. I mean, in the end of the day, look at stocks, something that you buy for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. This is something much more predictable, because you look at Tesla and say, hey, this company will be one of the market leaders if most of the cars, even if 50% of the cars will be electric. And then you will have one of the market leaders as a long-term investment, and then the stock will definitely go at thousands, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 per share, and you make a nice profit without caring what the stock makes tomorrow, yesterday, or the day or the week after or the months after. So you will be much more relaxed. This is the investment approach by myself mostly, but also by many people who are really seeing companies that changing things, right? Like, for example, Amazon, Netflix, those companies you should have hold for the 10-year periods, and then you had really, really fun with them. But, you know, obviously you have to consider and follow all the news from stocks that you are invested in. I think this is super important. I cannot stress this, super much. Let's have a look in the chat. Who is here and where are you guys from? So official race Monso Piat. How much you think Tesla will be for market closes? You know, looking into the glass predicting gadget that I don't have, I think I think the trend is lower, but can be more up. It's hard to say day to day, Yeah, my intro is fire. Thank you very much. Then we have someone from KSA from Saudi Arabia. We have people from California. And Florencio is the very first time in the live stream, so welcome. And Connecticut, we have people from Connecticut. So let me know your questions to Tesla or the overall market in the comments so I can get to it as soon as possible. But first, let's get to the main topic. Now, as you could see from the thumbnail, we will dive into the Tesla, obviously, and what drove Tesla stocks higher today. And this is obviously the analysts that made a huge new Tesla stock participation in terms of a new target for the stock. And I will directly dive with you now into the analysis. What was his key points? And I think this graphic is very important by Seeking Alpha. Shout out to these colleagues from this financial. Sometimes they do a really good job in promoting and putting these informations together. But let's dive directly into it. So Goldman Sachs, a believer in Tesla. Goldman Sachs is back in the game of rating Tesla with a fresh buy rating slapped on the EV automaker tonight. And just after hours they announced this, because otherwise it would affect the stock market too much, and those things they want to, maybe they have a long-term position into Tesla already for a couple of days or weeks, and then they say, okay, it went 13% up, and maybe our analysis will give them another push, which they did. So let's see how far this can put some wind into the sales, into the Tesla sales. We are positive on Tesla because we believe that the company has a significant product lead in AVs, which is a market where we expect long-term secular growth. So in this passage, it's important to see this guy is, or his name is Mark Delaney. And this guy we will research because obviously, everybody can make an analyst, and I love to look behind the scenes who is claiming those things and what is his hit rate. And there's a great tool I will show you in a couple of minutes once we are done with this highlights of the analysts. And so Delaney points to the combination of Tesla products leadership and early mover advantage. He also sees the Model Y helping Tesla to have more traction in the important SUV and crossover market, with the price set to be lower than the Model X. Yeah, that's I think that's obviously, especially for us as Tesla followers and Tesla investors, this is no news or big news or new news. On valuation, Delaney says compared to other auto and technology companies, Tesla is attractively valued given the revenue growth. We also note that Tesla's EBITDA margin in 2021 screens relatively well in these versus these peers. Goldman assigns a price target of 864 on Tesla in its return to coverage. Tesla share were up 5% after hours, after running up 9% gain during the regular session. Okay, so we got it. He thinks that Tesla is well equipped and have a lead technology and product wise, and that the Model Y is a good addition. Now, nothing new for us. Obviously, this is something that we see on daily basis, especially here on this vlogs. If you are regular, you know that I'm posting a lot about Tesla, but also other things. And just in my own advertising, let me have you show this is the thumbnail after this live stream to look for, because this is my brand new Tesla vlog where I will talk about not why the stock went up, but what will be important for the Tesla stock in the next weeks. So before diving into the analyst of Goldman, let's have a look if we have some more questions here. California, Texas is here, and Hodir is asking, since Tesla raised around 767, does that make it a major resistance level? Well, this is a good question. If we have a look into the Tesla chart, let's have a look what's happening here. So the price that Hodir was asking was around these levels here. It seems that overall here's something, that could be a resistance level. But again, I'm not that much into technical analysis. I don't like that much. I don't think that overall you are so good with technical analysis. I think more of a news, value-driven growth perspective is much interesting, much more interesting. This is how I saw Tesla also growing, and since the summer I was saying that this is very interesting company, and then we gained from 178 up to 968, and I think this is much more interesting than the technical analysis of companies, and therefore I cannot tell you that much to that, but let's have a look into the Goldman and Sachs Mark Delaney. So if we are looking into Mark Delaney, this is a great tool here. It's called Tip Ranks, and it's showing the coverage and also performance of analysts out there, and therefore we can also look up Mark here. He has 3 of 5 stars, ranked 2,632 out of 6,500 analysts, and then you here have a good overview of his performance over the last year. He has a 48% success rate and an average return of 0.9. So not that impressive. And then you see here his overall coverages that are here. Tesla, this was the latest one, where you can have a look into this chart as well. But this, I feel, is a great tool for you guys to see, okay, who made which analyze, and you can see his performance. I think that's a great tool, and to emphasize how this can be further analyzed. So Florencio, no one can catch up or keep up with Elon Musk. Go Tesla. Yeah, that's true. It's really hard to catch up with Tesla. Tesla has, I think, many interesting positive leads, not technically wise only, but also in the product, the management team. I made one vlog which coming up tomorrow about this compared to the traditional car manufacturers, so this will be super interesting. But Florencio is apparently great fan of Tesla. I will hit 1,000 this year, cross my fingers and eyes too. Very interesting. He's up 47%. Always, guys, remember that just with this fast gains, you can really go for stop losses, because then you can secure your gains over the next couple of weeks, because the stock market will be continued to be volatile. And to save your earnings and gains, make sure to secure those. This is, I think, a great tip that I can just give to everyone. So Hodier is asking if I would take Ellen's Neuralink. Well, I definitely would not subscribe for the beta version, but I think it's a super interesting concept, because you will be from one day to another is superhuman, and I think it will be ridiculous if you don't get a Neuralink implant. I think this will be, if you are sitting with a person that has this implant and one that doesn't, I think that will be super weird, actually. And therefore, I'm interested, but I will first wait until the first 10,000 or 20,000 or 100 or millions of people will have their first implantant, so I'm very interested. So official race Monso Piat is asking if I'm excited for Q1. I think this is one of the most exciting quarters out there for Tesla. I think this will not only show us how strong Tesla can be, it will show us how much they could improve on the financial side by making maybe profit. If they're making $160 million, they will be included in the S&P 500, and we will know how their guidance will be for the next couple of weeks and months. So I think it's maybe one of the most crucial quarters ever. So I'm super excited. I will be live streaming to that. And, if you guys don't have any more questions, I would wrap up here, and I see you tomorrow.